everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm back with another project that I completed at my weekend away. Man, that's like almost a month ago because I went there May 14th, 15th, 16th, and today's June 11th. Wow, how time flies. But before I start the project, I want to show you, I had just gotten at the time those new Nouveau crystal drops, and what I'm putting it on is whenever you buy your ATG roll, this comes in between the two packs and it's kind of a waxy consistency package, and it's perfect for that because it does not stick to it, but it's perfect. You make your little crystal drops or your enamel dots, and then you put them aside, you let them dry. I didn't even work on making it flatter than it could have been. But now what I'm doing is when I take one of these out of the package, I'm going to put them inside a book and get them really flat. And then they're going to be flat. Now my next thing is going to be to figure out where I'm going to store these things. I'll probably find some kind of little drawer and put them in. But these, if you're new to my channel, they're called Nouveau crystal or glitter drops, or some of them are crystal drops. And I have the glitter drops and I have pearlescence drops, but they're crystal drops, and you can get them on their website, which is sparkleandshine, I believe.com. But the great news is, and you know, their shipping, it wasn't outrageous, but it was still $10. And that's the reason I had bought so many of them, was because I was paying $10 no matter what. So I just got a whole bunch to make the shipping worth it. But now they are available at Simon Says Stamp, and you can buy them individually. Awesome. So you can just buy the colors that you want and that you love. And so now what I can do is I can fill in the holes of the colors that I'm missing, which is awesome. And so I just want to show you a few minutes of me filling that sheet. And what I loved is I did that first thing in the morning. This was Saturday morning. So the minute that I got up, I did a whole bunch of them, different colors. At the time, I was going to say I only had 20, but I had 20 of them. I've bought 2 more packages since. And you can do them directly on the package like that, let them dry, and then use some crystal effects to glue them down. Or you can do them directly on the page. And directly on the page is fine. The only thing is then wherever you put them, you got to make sure that's where you want them, because you can't scrape it up, right? Because it's still wet. And then you got to find somewhere where to put your page where it can dry. And it doesn't take an excessive amount of time to dry, but it does take a little bit of time to dry. And once they're dry too, they're not as sturdy as real enamel dots. You have to be gentle with them. They will break in half, but they're not super gentle. If you do them directly on your page, I wouldn't worry about them. Just make sure that they're totally dry before you put them in your album, because if you put another page over top and then not completely dry, it will kind of indent the top of the dot, which can be prevented if you just wait before putting other pattern papers or, you know, pages over top, which for me, it's still not a big deal, but I just thought that I would let you know. Okay, now I put this on super fast speed, just so that we wouldn't have to watch it in, you know, ×8. This is ×20, so it's going a little bit faster. I still want you to see all the colors that I got done, but not in a super slow way. And then we can get on with the page that I put together that morning. So I was kind of in a kind of fun and wanted to play kind of with mixed media that morning, and I think this is what started, because I was kind of, you know, playing with my new crystal drops, and I just wanted to play with more mixed media stuff. So something else that I bought recently is the Distress crayons from Tim Holtz, and shockingly I only bought 6 colors. I think there's 4 packages, and I just kind of showed you the little crystal drops all done there. Yeah, I just bought 6 colors. I just bought one of the packages because he sells them by color packs. And the last time that I went to a crop, which was at Crop and Create, there was a store there, and I bought these distress crayons. So at first I'm kind of deciding, am I going to use all of them or just some of them? And there's many, many, many ways to use these crayons, but the way that I decided to use them this morning is just directly on some watercolor paper, and then I took a water brush, and that's what I'm looking for now. And I tried to smooth them out, and it didn't work as well as I wanted, but I thought I just gonna go give it a go anyway, and you'll see what I do. And I was extremely surprised that I was able to find colors that match each of these colors, and I'll show you when I get there. But basically, you know, this was May 14th, 15th, I think it was. Yeah, May 15th. And it was a beautiful weekend, you know, with a little bit of rain, but we just knew that summer was coming, and we were all anticipating summer. And when I went through my pictures, I found, well, I printed some of the pictures that when I went to Las Vegas, and there was a picture of a palm tree. So at first I thought, you know what, I'll just do a whole background using, you know, these distress crayons, and I can do kind of a fun, bright, summery page for my palm tree. And then once I get all this done, I'm like, oh my, is this ever overwhelming? But I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna, you know, I'm dedicated to it. So I went and dug through my stuff, because of course I'm not home, so nothing is where everything should be. So I have to dig through my stuff, and I add water with a spray bottle, and it still doesn't spread out very well using a paintbrush. So then I just decide, okay, then I'm just going to use my finger. And so I'm using my fingers, and I'm spreading it out as much as it'll let me. And it doesn't, I have to say, it doesn't let me very much. I smooth it out quite a bit, but you can still see the streaks of the pencil. And I'm even trying to use a baby wipe, which normally a baby wipe works really well. And like I said, I know there's tons of different ways to use those crayons, but this is the way that I wanted to try them. It was okay. Now, what made it awesome is you're going to see in a minute. Second of all, I took a stencil, and with the baby wipe, I took away some colors, because I thought, well, maybe it won't accent so much the fact that the crayon didn't rub as well as I wanted to. And that was okay too. And then the light bulb went off, and I thought, hey, these are not the only watercolor-ish crayons that I brought with me. I brought my Prima watercolors. So now I'm digging through my stuff again, trying to find my watercolors from Prima. Oh, actually, no. What I was looking for was modeling paste. And lo and behold, I forgot my modeling paste home. But that's okay, because I brought some gesso. And you can almost do everything that you can do with gesso with modeling paste. It's not as thick as modeling paste, but my gesso, I have a heavy duty gesso, so it still goes through the template, and it still leaves, you know, some nice forms. Right now I'm using a template, and this is an exclusive from the Hip Kit, and I'm kind of spreading it all over the place. And then after I did all that, I should have done it before, but I don't think I said that I had aha moment. I don't think I had it at this point. Again, I did this page a month ago. So I'm just working with the stencil. I'm going to clean my stencil because, man, if you don't clean that stuff off right away, eventually it'll ruin your template because the holes of your template will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and you just won't be able to use it because this stuff, even if it's gesso, it's still, mine especially because it's heavy duty, it's got some thickness to it, and if it dries there, I'm sure you could get it off if you put it in some, hot water and soap and then scrubbed it for like 10-15 minutes. But if you do it right away, it takes seconds, so you're better off to do it right away. Now, I had plugged in my heat gun. This is the Tim Holtz, and that's the one I brought with me because especially when you're at a crop like that, you don't want to get, like super loud and, there's people all over. So you want to try to keep it down a little bit. So this page took me an hour and 45 minutes to complete. It took me a bit of time, but it was fun. The thing that took me a bit of time was to try to figure out what I was going to do once I got this part done because it was so busy. Now, I found that just the colors, just like that, it was, a little too bright. So then I thought, well, maybe if I back it up with either some pattern papers or some cardstock, that I can tone, make it grounded a little bit more. So I put it up against the black, which I really like, but I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. And this is where that I have sort of my aha moment. And I go grab my watercolors from Prima. These were just released in January of 2016. I believe there's 4 different palettes, and I had a haul that I showed you when I hauled them. I think I uploaded that haul. I'm so bad for that. I'll do like a haul for books or for scrapbooking supplies, and if I don't put it up right away, I can actually sometimes find it months later and go, oops, I forgot to upload that. So I went through my watercolors and I found the exact colors that matched the Tim Holtz Distress, and they were all in the package. And I think they were like called tropical, which obviously it would make sense that it would match because these are all kind of tropical colors. And so I'm just going to go over the colors and look how much smoother they look. And you see me on the side there, I'm cleaning my brush on my mat. Bad Nicole, because it stained my mat. And you know how fussy I am about my mat. I can't believe I did that. I didn't bring my water tray with me, or my water cleaner, my tub. So, I was trying to, spray water on my mat and clean it off like that. At least if I would have had my rubber mat, it's kind of for that. Anyway, I now have an orange stain on my mat. So yeah, don't do that. But I found all the colors that match. I was super pumped. Now I really like it a whole lot more because the colors are way more concentrated. It helps smooth out the crayon underneath, which I really loved. And I don't know, it just had more variety in the color. Like it wasn't just a chunky color. There was like variety, and it really reminded me of a sunset, and or just a summer day, a summer night. And now I'm still looking at that going, man, but that is still way too bright to use as a background. What can I do to fix that? So I'm going through all my pattern papers and, trying to figure out how I can tone this down. So I thought, well, first of all, I'm going to take some sprays in different colors, and I'm just going to add and try to just hit the color that I'm actually using. So when I use the blue, I tried to just hit the blue. Of course, some of them went and hit the other colors, but I wasn't super fussy, but I still tried to keep it in just that color. So I did orange on orange, yellow on yellow, green on green, blue on blue, etc., etc. And that just added a whole, more texture to the background, and I like that. Now, I don't think I've uploaded a video this week. This is my first one, so I'll try to do one today and one tomorrow. They're already, all I gotta do is the voiceover, but this voiceover was like almost 30 minutes long, and I started work on Sunday, and it was a super rough day. Finished off the day with a really bad call, and I came home and a migraine started. And so I had the migraine, which I still worked right through it. I worked Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I worked with a migraine for those 3 days. And I still had the migraine Wednesday. And Thursday it turned into a headache, which wasn't as bad. And then yesterday I still had the headache. So I went for a massage just to kind of an emergency massage. Just to kind of loosen up because I can feel it in my jaw. So I went for an emergency massage and I feel much better. So it was totally worth the $60. And that's just a fact of life with our jobs. Sometimes we're just going to get those calls that just kind of affect us, and it affects you when you leave. So, but I'll try to upload a video today and tomorrow. And I think the reason too is because they started building. They haven't done much. They started by putting sort of like, because we're doing a walkout basement, so it's a different kind of a basement. So they did the first step. Now they had to wait till it completely dries. So on Monday, I'm hoping to see some cement walls going up. And so that's exciting. But of course it creates, I guess, a little bit of stress because we had to meet, all these decisions. But anyway, so back to the layout. So I'm looking, you can see me tapping my fingers. What can I do? What can I do? And I thought, you know what? It looks so overwhelming as a whole. But if I cut it down, if I make it smaller, then I'm sure I'm going to like it even more. So the only kind of punch or tool really, to make circular things that I bought or brought with me is my Colossal. And I only brought the mat and my circle template. I have a whole bunch of Colossal templates from the day that Colossal was like super in. And so you're going to see me bring in the Colossal, and you're going to see me start cutting it out. And my camera was full and it didn't let me know, so you're not going to see me cutting out the circles. But basically all I did was just cut different circles in different sizes, and I just fill the page, which, you know what, this background took me probably about 45 to an hour to complete because I couldn't make up my mind what I wanted to do. But what I'm going to be able to do though is I'm going to complete 2 layouts using these circles. So I didn't realize that my camera, like I said, was full, and then I got up to, I don't know, maybe go to the bathroom, and then I noticed, oh man, it wasn't recording. So what I did was I just brought back in that black cardstock that I had wanted to maybe mount the whole thing with. And then I just kind of haphazardly, wherever I thought it looked good, to add the circles. And then I mounted my photo on some, did I mount the photo yet? I don't know. I just went through my scraps and I found a whole bunch of scraps. I had sort of a big 12 by 12, one of those big baggies that I had a bunch of scraps from different layouts that I've made, and I just went through the scraps and I found an orange scrap, a gray scrap, and a black and white dot. So I'm using those. I did mount my photo on yellow and an orange just to kind of bring in the colors that were in the circles. And then I went and got my white gel pen. And this is the kind of gel pen that when it goes on, it's clear. So you can still see it, but it's clear. But as it dries, it becomes really white. So like magic, By the time I'm done all the circles, you'll see the first ones will be totally white. And as I'm looking at the layout now, which is a month later, all the white marks are there. It's not as if they fade after a while. It's just, that's just how it goes on. And I can't remember, it's a souffle is what it's called, and it's a white color from Sakura. And I really like this one. It's deceiving, like I said, because when you first put it on, you're like, this isn't working. But as it dries, you get to see the white of the, the white of the pen, and it really, really pops against the black of the cardstock. And you can see the top one there, the one that's closest to the top of the layout. You can see the white really starting to pop around those circles, and that I really like that. I really like the color, and I really love doing layouts with scraps. You don't even have to think. You just use the scraps in the size that they are, and the pages come together sort of magically. And that is going to be, I have one more class that's coming up. Only have a couple things left to do to it. I'm hoping to do it today and tomorrow, and then about a week and a half to edit everything and get it all ready. So probably by the end of June the class will go up, and that will be for the love of the collection, and it's just to get the most of a collection. A lot of us like to buy these collections, but okay, what do you do with that collection after? Let's use it to its fullest and get as many pages done as we can. And the kind of stuff that I think about when I look at a collection, just so that the pages don't look, if you end up making 10 or 12 pages out of a collection, that it doesn't look like you just did 10 and 12 pages out of a collection. You want it to look different. So that's what this next class is going to be, and the one after that is going to be for the love of scraps. So I'm going to go through and we're going to do some pages just using scraps. So if like you're the most, like most of us in scrapbooking, you have tons of scraps, and let's use these scraps up. So there was a pattern paper that had all these labels. So I cut out 3 labels, 2 in black, 1 in orange, and I'm going to spread them out. And this is how I'm going to make the 3 clusters on my page. I found this wood veneer, and that was from an old Scraptastic wood veneer kit. It was exclusive to Scraptastic, and it kind of has the cut of a tree and a little heart in the middle, so I just love that. And then I had a bunch of transparencies that were from my stash, and it's all hearts, and I found that they were too transparent. So what I ended up doing was I mounted them on pattern papers that were close to the color that they were, and then that way they didn't get lost on the page. They actually stood out and that you could see them. And so see right here, I'm just gluing it on some pattern papers or pattern paper, and then I'm cutting it around, and then you can see the color a little bit more. If the colors would have been so that there wasn't so many colors in behind it, I probably wouldn't have done that. But I really wanted the hearts to kind of pop off the page, so that's the reason I did that. I ended up using some enamel dots that had little hearts on it too, that were from just some scrap, leftovers. So this was really sort of a scrap layout. It wasn't a page kit that I put together. I just went through my stuff and said, okay, I'm starting to have a little bit more, too many scraps, and I need to use this. And this again was leftover stickers and stuff from a previous page, so I'm trying to use that up also. So there was a couple of banners, and I'm going to cut them down because I find them a little too tall, and then I'm going to stick them under the label. and I'm going to put them on the bottom of the layout. I had a couple of sort of oranges star, but I'm going to keep them. I can't remember if I put them on the other layout, but the next layout that I do right after this, and if I'm able to upload it tomorrow, I will. I just need to work on the class today. And also, we bought new bikes, so we want to go biking. We haven't gone biking in years, and that's something this year that we want to start up again. We want to start to go biking again, so we're going to go biking this afternoon. And plus, where we want to climb Mount Washington, we want to make sure, I want to make sure that my legs can handle it. So I figure if I start biking, it'll strengthen my legs a little bit more. And I'm going to use some Nouveau crystal drops because I didn't have enough enamel drops, and so I'm going to use them in the orange, and I'm going to put them on a few places on the layout. And I'm telling you, once they dry, as I'm looking at it right now, I couldn't even tell which ones were the Nouveau ones and which ones were the real ones. They look amazing. I just absolutely love those crystal drops. And at the beginning of the video, I showed you where you can put them on, you know, something and then just let them dry. Or you can do this and just put them on your page and let them dry by themselves. But then, like I said, you just need to find somewhere where you can just put down your layout and just leave it until it dries. And that is going to be it. Like I said, this page took me almost 2 hours to make, and it was because of the background. And usually when you do a mixed media layout, it's kind of to be expected that's going to take a little longer. But I'm going to end up doing 2 pages with it, so that's going to be totally worth it. And this is where I add some more crystal drop. Just try to hold your bottle at a 90-degree angle. I find the little drops come out rounder that way. And that's it. That's going to complete this layout. So thank you so much for watching. And if you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. So thanks for watching. Bye.